Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a sloppy sports and entertainment talk show that covers Giants football, Mets baseball, movies, TV shows, and comedy. There's some funny life stories and life lessons along the way. It's hosted by Giant Mess. That's me, the Real Cinch Neal Lynch. I'm a former college quarterback and pitcher, turned overthinker. On today's episode, we're going to be recapping and breaking down the historic come from behind win for Los Gigantes de Nueva York. We'll preview the game, upcoming Thursday night football game against the San Francisco 49ers in what hopefully won't be too bad of a bloodbath. And then we'll finish up with some Mets talk. I haven't talked Mets in a hot minute. It's been like 3 weeks, something like that. So I thought I'd give that a whirl because they're technically still alive. Not dead just yet. Although after tonight, we'll have to see. So without further ado, let's get it started up in here. Your New York Football Giants, our New York Football Giants, put on a show on Sunday. They put on one hell of a show. First half was essentially just a repeat of week one. We looked like complete and utter dog shit from the get. And my nightmarish prediction of 0-17 looked like a reality. Looked like that was a real life nightmare, a waking nightmare, if you will. We made Josh Dobbs look like fucking Lamar Jackson, right? Peak Russell Wilson, maybe, back in the day. Josh Dobbs having himself a goddamn career game. Can't stop the run. James Conner is running footloose and fancy free with Kevin Bacon. We looked like crap. It looked like we had learned absolutely nothing from the first week debacle, and that this is life now. And you start to wonder, like, Dave. Okay, I guess Dable has lost the team officially, and that's what cost Ben McAdoo his job, is just not being in tune with the players and the clubhouse and just losing the belief, maybe? Is that what we're talking about here, right? Faith, belief, conviction. If these people can't believe in me, they won't believe in themselves, they won't believe in the cause, they won't believe in the game plan, they won't believe in the scheme. And that's exactly what it looked like in the first half. Was I shocked and surprised? Not shocked, not really surprised. Given given what I saw in week one, knowing that we're going to be without Andrew Thomas at left tackle, we have Josh Azudu, who's not a left tackle at left tackle. We also have Marcus McKeithen, a guy that hasn't played it down yet in the NFL at right guard, coming off a pretty nasty ACL or something like that last year. He did have a promising training camp, but so did Darian Beavers. And it's amazing what an injury can do to a career. Just ask David Wilson. And I was just like, yeah, this is just more of the same. It's like, I don't know how this can happen to a team that appears to be better on paper, as from a roster standpoint, is more talented than they were last year, and coming out and just playing flat. Like, it's week 2, guys. You're acting like it's week 16 and you're out of the playoffs. Out of the playoff hunt. I don't know. I just, I remember going to get something to eat or ordering something to eat right when halftime, the final seconds of the first half are waning down. And the broadcaster, I forget who it was, just goes, just a nightmare situation for the Giants. It's like, man, we have broadcasters yelling, furious about just how poorly we are playing. What? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I think a lot of people thought this was a get right game. That some people were thinking that we should be able to handle them easily, and it's a cakewalk. And I'm saying to myself, I just don't think we have it figured out yet, and I don't know that we'll ever get it figured out. I mean, what's there to figure out? What was training camp for? What the fuck was all that for? What was the preseason for? So yeah, I mean, Did I turn it off? No, because it was a 4:00 game. It wasn't a Sunday night game like I did last week. I stuck with it because I was like, let's just see how this plays out. Like, are we really going to lose 40-0, 30-something to nothing to the Cardinals? Like that, I was almost more entertained by that concept. Like, we're just gonna get. It's not just the Cowboys; it's the Cardinals now, who are. I mean, everyone and their mother was saying are actively tanking, like full on rebuild mode. But yet, I don't know. No one's telling the players that because they gave the Commanders a run for their money, and now they put the fear of God in the Giants. So, my God, for a fact that there's a recording of Brian Daboll at halftime, and it's probably electric. I can't imagine it being anything short of stellar. And it's going to be, if they do end up doing some kind of wild run this year, hopefully it goes. I think they would have to win the Super Bowl for them to include that speech in the championship DVD, quote unquote. I don't know if that's going to go in the yearbook, the video yearbook, if it's like we finished 7-10 and missed the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? It feels like this is more of a Super Bowl or bust inclusion for the audio on that, because you can look back and laugh and be like, but you know, if anything short of a Super Bowl win, I don't think that ever sees the light of day. Maybe, I don't know, but there's got to be a recording. There's definitely a recording of it somewhere. So we're doing some historic shit. This team, worst blowout loss at home in 80 years in week 1. Tied for the biggest comeback win in franchise history. Biggest come from behind comeback win since 1949. I mean, we're seeing stuff that I don't think anyone alive has seen twice. Maybe that's maybe one or two people. And this team is just, it's fun. It'll be fun to see what kind of record that we tie or break or set in the Thursday night game. Feels like another one's coming down the pike. It's the second. This is the third comeback from 21 points. And it's the second against the Cardinals in the first in almost 74 years. So the first one, the last one was against the Chicago Cardinals in 1949. So on December 2nd, 1945, the Giants fell behind the Eagles at the Polo Grounds 21-0 before Arnie Herber caught 4 touchdown passes to give them the 28-21 triumph. Giants repeated the feat on October 30th, 1949 against the Chicago Cardinals playing in Comiskey Park. Giants were in a 28-7 hole at halftime before surging to a 41-38 win. We have now improved to 52-42-5 in road openers, proving once again that MetLife needs to burn to the ground. 52 victories trail only the Green Bay Packers all time, who have 58. Giants gained 439 yards, the second highest total of the Brian Daboll era. And the most they've had in a victory, we totaled 445 yards against the Vikings on Christmas Eve last year. A game that gave a lot of Giants fans, myself included, a lot of hope for the playoffs. The 321 net passing yards were also the second most they've had in their highest total in a victory under Daboll. We threw for 324 yards last November 20th in a loss to Detroit. And that was when we were playing from behind for most of the game. That was the game Wan'Dale Robinson had a bit of a breakout and then was lost for the year. A really devastating loss that I believe it was either the beginning of or in the midst of Detroit's resurgence into becoming the juggernaut that they are today. This is the first time the Giants shut out in the first 6 quarters of a season since 1934. And they were shut out for the first 7 quarters. And it should be noted that in 1934, that same season, the Giants won the NFL championship against those same Chicago Bears in the famous sneakers game. So, will history repeat itself? So far, that's been the theme of the 2023 season. History repeating itself. Worst blowout loss at home in 80 years. Biggest come from behind victory in 60 some odd years, 70 some odd years. So why not do what they did back in the 30s and 40s? Get ourselves a goddamn championship. We're the first team to surrender at least 60 points in a season before scoring since the 78 Baltimore Colts. And I'm going to look up real quick how they finished. If only I knew how to type. Because I think that the 78 Baltimore Colts, if I'm not mistaken, no, they went 5-11. What year was I thinking of? Maybe it was the year before. So yeah, they went 5-11. Was it 77 they were in the Super Bowl? Lost divisional round. Jesus. 74, 73, 72, 71. Lost the conference championship, Dolphins. Oh, okay, fine. Well, yeah, 5-11. Those 78 Baltimore Colts. So, inauspicious start to the season. And then shit done changed in the locker room. And hopefully it sees the light of day. Giants allowed the first 20-plus points in consecutive games for the first time since December 8th to 17th, 2013, and lost to San Diego and Seattle. So again, you can see why I was leaning towards 0-17 or something to that effect for the season, just because it's very reminiscent of what we saw in 2017 and 2013, two of the worst seasons that we've had in the past decade or so. There's a lot of similarities to seasons that did not go well. Even Saquon getting hurt at the end of this game. It's like the years he gets hurt, tough to swallow. Jones improved to 8-1-1 in his last 10 games following a loss. So again, resilience, key to any good quarterback, great quarterback. Jalen Hyatt's 58-yard catch and run was the longest by a Giants rookie since Paul Perkins had a 67-yard catch and run in Minnesota in 2016. That was the longest first career reception by a Giants player since that Paul Perkins snag and run. And Hyatt had the longest reception by a Giants rookie wide receiver since Odell Beckham Jr. had a 63-yarder versus the Eagles on around Christmas 2014. Yeah, Paul Perkins, man. I thought that was going to be our back for like the next at least 5 years. Just, there was, I think there might have been comparisons to Tiki in the draft when they drafted him, when I was a blogger, when I blogged. I was like, oh, this is Tiki Barber 2.0, who played 10 years and a franchise leader in rushing yards. So I really thought that catch and grab, and Perkins came on real strong towards the end of the season and became the Giants' X factor as they moved away from what's his face? Oh my God. You know what I'm talking about. Did that weird touchdown dance. Rashad Jennings. Jesus. So yeah, I'm hoping Jalen Hyatt has a more successful career than Paul Perkins did. Paul Perkins fucked up some kind of body part that did not allow him to get back to what he used to be, which is really unfortunate because I really liked how he ran and definitely infused some life into that 2016 team down the stretch. Whereas I like listed him as the X factor, most important player in that wild card game against the Packers, and we just got smoked. So hopefully Jalen Hyatt, from all looks, it appears that he's just going to be someone that opposing defenses have to account for. It was that 58-yard catch and run. No one was near him. Good throw by DJ, but if he's able to catch him in stride, he gone. So that is really cool to see that we have a deep threat, and Darius Slayton also a deep threat. I think the combo of those two, it's what we talked about heading into the season. Just visions of grandeur of seeing both Darius and Jalen just stretch defense is thin, and then I'll open up everything to Waller and the like underneath. So, and that's what sprung the offense in the second half. Huge play, big play, a lot of explosive plays in the second half, which we'll get to. But that was the one that kind of swung the momentum. Giants broke a 4-game losing streak to the Cardinals and beat Arizona for the first time since 2011. That game also required a Giants comeback. We trailed 27-17 with under 4 minutes remaining in the fourth before Eli threw 2 touchdown passes in a 58-second span to win 31-27. So, as much as the first 6 quarters were reminiscent of seasons that ended really horribly, the fact that this also mirrors a come-from-behind win from 2011, a Super Bowl season, then, that's why I think that my 1% sliver, from last week, I said I had a 1% sliver. It's like a 5% sliver now, I don't know that that's going to increase anymore after this 49ers game. I foresee, it's going to be ugly. What's not ugly, though, is our secondary, which I think a lot of people might have underestimated. I know that I gave them a fair amount of shine and flowers and whatnot. My prediction was that I think they were going to be the second best unit behind the defensive line. And I'm going to go on a limb and say they are the best unit so far through 2 games, through 2 weeks. Deonte Banks, big part of that. Through 2 weeks, opposing quarterbacks are completing 42.9% of their passes when targeted. When Deonte Banks is targeted, he's allowed 30 yards and a pass rating of 55.7. I don't know that you can ask much more of that. Again, Cowboys, you might have a hater say the Cowboys weren't throwing the ball because they didn't have to. They were up so big. I get it. You could say we're playing the Cardinals. The Cardinals suck. I get it. I don't know. I just I think that our secondary certainly came up big against the Cardinals in the second half. And I think they can at least try and keep us in the game against San Francisco. Starting safety Jason Pinnock, another member of the secondary. 13 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 4 defensive stops. Oh, brother. So Jason Pinnock, who we just claimed off waivers, we just found him on waivers, is playing really well. Some would say better than Xavier McKinney, who got absolutely truck-sticked by Josh Dobbs en route to his touchdown, that long touchdown run. Xavier McKinney is now, there's what is his his contract is up after 22, 23, maybe next year. So I think there are a lot of people who want to see more out of him, because he's not really jumping off the screen. Injury history, avoidable injury history. He's trending in a direction that makes me think he's not going to be a Giant. A lot could change. Long season. But so far, Jason Pinnock has looked much better than Xavier McKinney. The 5 best Giants, according to PFF grades for week 2, Daniel Jones with a 92.5, much deserved. We'll get into a lot of his cool stats in a little bit. Jalen Hyatt with an 89.9, Dexter Lawrence with an 86.5, Isaiah Simmons with an 86.4, and Trey Hawkins with a 78.4. So the 2 rookie corners are pretty much holding their own. You got new acquisition Isaiah Simmons looking better and better, and maybe he should take on a larger role in the defense, which I agree with. Dexter Lawrence being Dexter Lawrence. Great to see his consistency. He's just not getting a whole lot of help on the defensive line. We mentioned explosive plays. There were 4 pass plays of 25 yards or more, 6 pass plays of 15 yards or more, 3 plays of 15 yards or more from Slayton, 1 20-yard play from Waller, 2 plays of 30-plus from Hyatt, 5 runs of 10-plus yards. Of the 5, 3 were from Jones and 2 were from Barkley. So, yeah, that's going to be key. And it's going to be necessary and required for this team, because I don't know that we're going to do there's not going to be a lot of repeats of last year where you can just it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to run the ball like we did last year and just eat away at the clock and at teams. It doesn't seem like that's the case this year, but I don't know. So Daniel Jones had the highest PFF grade, and it's easy to understand why. No other quarterback in NFL history has ever done what Daniel Jones did in the second half of the game against the Cardinals. He threw for 250 yards, more than 250 yards, rushed for more than 50 yards, threw multiple touchdown passes, rushed for a touchdown, and had no turnovers. Now, there's some weird stats being thrown around about not just the Giants, but also Daniel Jones. And a lot of those stats that are being tweeted out and sent out and shouted out it's hard to ignore, because they all say in NFL history, no one has done what Daniel Jones is doing. And yeah, he missed a lot of plays, a lot of passes in that 40-0 shutout blowout loss. He missed a lot of open people, was off, and just wasn't what we've come to expect and hope for out of him. So, and I think the first quarter of this game, a little bit more of the same. And then something happened. And a lot of people seem to think that in addition to Dable maybe giving the halftime speech to end all halftime speeches, that maybe he also decided to call some plays in the second half, which, there was a marked difference, right? All the explosive plays coming to second half. Kafka maybe playing a little too conservative, knowing that there are some offensive line issues. And Dable's like, fuck it, dude. You got to risk it to get the biscuit, my man, right? So, and that would explain a lot. And I'm hoping he either is like gets in Kafka's grill and is like, listen, here's what I'm aiming for against these guys, which I assume he does every week. Or he should just take over play calling, it worked against Arizona. Maybe it'll work against San Francisco. But Daniel Jones, dude, he did it all without Andrew Thomas at left tackle. Josh Azudu did fairly well, considering he's not a left tackle. Marcus McKeithen was a day 3 pick, round 5, I think. As we mentioned, missed his entire rookie season. And Mark Lewinsky was benched, which a lot of people were calling for heading after last week's game and after a really abysmal 2022. But had to come in when Brederson got concussed, which is that's a blow to that offensive line, because it's like if you can keep Brederson in the game with McKeithen and JMS and hopefully Neal, whatever. There's now, do you want to now move Evan Neal into right guard and push Josh Azudu to right tackle? That's how bad Evan Neal is. But is that how good Azudu is? I don't know. Jalen Hyatt and Darius Slayton, we talked about stretching the offense. They averaged more than 30 yards per catch in the game against the Cardinals on 5 catches. So, and I swear, if Darius Slayton tucks in his t-shirt that's under his jersey, he probably scores on that one deep throw. He's like one of the only receivers I see who's always getting caught by his t-shirt. Tuck it in, my man. You be to the house. Speaking of JMS, he had 100% pass block win rate versus Arizona. We got this draft could be one of the best drafts in Giant. It's I don't want to say it already is, because but goddamn, man, if they all play out their entire careers with the Giants, that will be the draft that we look back on and we're like, holy fuck, dude. JMS starter looking real good. Dante Banks, starter, looking real good. Jalen Hyatt, not quite a starter, but a game changer playmaker, as we said he could be, and we hoped he would be. He is, dude. For sure. He is. At least once a game, we're taking a deep shot to him, and at least once a game, that has the potential to be a touchdown every time. Trey Hawkins, starter. What? Jordan Riley, fairly decent depth piece on the defensive line. Javarius Owens made the roster. I'm probably missing a bunch of guys, but holy shit, man. What a draft so far. Another insane stat. The Giants are just the third team in NFL history to suffer a 40-plus point loss while also mounting a 20-plus point comeback in the same season. The 1949 Bulldogs and the 1987 Bears were the other two. So the 87 Bears, I don't think they were anything to sneeze at or cough at, as I just... I think, the 87 Bears went 11-4 under Ditka, 9th in the league in points for, 4th in the league in points against, and they lost in the divisional round to the eventual Super Bowl champion Washington Skins of Red. Giants are the only team to have accomplished this feat during a 2-game span in NFL history. Ugh. A lot of people, media included, journalists, Big J journalists, are saying this was a season-saving win, and it's kind of hard to argue against that. Because you lose to a Cardinals team that is, as we said, not really putting their best foot forward, in terms of trying to win the game. And you start to, I don't know if there's any coming back from that. I don't know that you can come back from that. Oof. So, maybe they got all the bad out their system in quarter 7. But it's been one hell of a couple weeks. Did have some injuries, obviously. Barkley, why he was in the game, I just don't know. We're obviously in field goal range. With Gano's hurt ankle or whatever, you don't want to go too far back in terms of the game-winning field goal. So they do want to pick up positive yards, but at the same time, this is a Cardinals team or defense that was taking some shots last week in Washington. And, kind of feels like they might have been targeting Saquon or got pissed at Saquon and tried to hurt him. There's no, I don't know. Shouldn't have been in the game. It looked so bad live and on the replays, and I'm like, that could be a season ender. It just could be. It looked hell of a lot worse than anything he suffered in 2019, in 2020, in 2021. Tore his goddamn ACL in 2020. Didn't look that bad. 2021, he had a couple freakish accidents where he twists his ankle. Nothing where he had a full ass man just bend him backwards and just put all his weight landing on Saquon's leg. And so the MRIs came back, no fractures or anything like that. Sprained ankle, not a high ankle sprain, which he had in 2019, I think, and maybe even again. And expected to miss 3 weeks. And then Daboll gets up at the podium and is like, he's surprised me. He surprised a lot of people in terms of how he looks. We expected him to be worse. And so now all these people are, it's for clicks and engagement. I get it. Are saying that he's has a chance to play Thursday night, which is just stupid and outrageous. Bretterson did not practice. He has a concussion. I doubt he plays, which stinks. Micah McFadden's limited with a neck. Azeez Ojulari limited with a hamstring. Wan'Dale Robinson limited with a knee. Andrew Thomas limited practice with a hamstring. So the expectation, I guess, from everyone is that Thomas is going to play. There's a chance that Wan'Dale Robinson plays. I don't know about Azeez Ojulari, but friggin' A, dude. Azeez Ojulari cannot stay on the field and cannot stay healthy. Did not play against the Cardinals. I don't know if he'll play against the 49ers. It feels like at this point they might consider him as trade bait. I don't know. Like, it's just tough. He puts up great numbers when he's healthy, but just can't shake the injury bug. So, it'd be nice to get Wandale back. I just don't want to rush anyone back. It's like I'd rather just have everyone get healthy, just get fully healthy, and hopefully we can just hang tight and survive and stay in the hunt. I don't think there's a point in rushing Barkley back for this game. And if Andrew Thomas isn't 100%, I don't know that you want him to retweak and hurt that hamstring. It's like if Wandale's not 100%, don't friggin' dress him. These guys try to come back to make an impact and make a difference, and they try to overextend themselves and they get rehurt. So it's like, just let them heal up. All right, so Thursday night game against the San Francisco 49ers. Let's do it. Let's preview this bitch. 49ers are favored by 11 points. So, yeah, we're the underdogs just by a slight margin. The over-under is 45. And the last 5 matchups, the last time we faced them was in 2020. It was a 36-9 blowout at home. I believe that's the game where we lost Blake Martinez for the year. No, that would be the following year, 2021, right? Yeah. So 2020, we just got smoked. It's just like, oh, okay. So this is the kind of season we're going to have. New coach, same old bullshit. And then November of 2018, we had that come from behind victory. I believe it was Eli to Sterling Shepard in the left corner. Great job, Shep, getting both feet down. Amazing catch, falling out of bounds. So we won that 27-23. And then November 2017, we lost at San Francisco 31-21. That was who's coming out game. There was some rookie. Was it Brandon Ayuk? No. There was some rookie wide receiver who hadn't done shit all year and just like went off against the Giants. And it was just like, this truly is 2017 in a nutshell. October 2015, another come from behind victory from Eli Manning against the 49ers in prime time. I believe this is the one, the floater to Larry Donnell, where he went up over 2 guys and came down with it. Larry Donnell. How far we've come. And then November 2014, we lost 16-10. And that was at home. 2014 was, some would say, well, I don't know. 2014 kind of the first, 2013 was real bad for those first 7-8 games, I think. But 2014 was not enjoyable. I guess it was only enjoyable watching Odell Beckham Jr. blossom and be like, oh, we have this guy's legit. Like, he put up the best rookie wide receiver season we've ever seen. Oh my God. The all-time series is all tied up, all knotted up at 21. Niners are first in the division. They're third in points for, third in points against in the league. We are 28th and 32nd respectively, offensively and defensively in the league. And I think that's was so concerning is like this defensive line is supposed to be the best in the league or one of the best in the league. Dexter Lawrence has showed up to play. Pretty much no one else has. I think it's safe to say. I know Kayvon's catching a lot of shit for just not putting up any numbers. I think he had 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 pressures, 0 hits against the Cardinals. Again, the Cardinals, not a great team. Didn't do much in the opener. And so there are people coming in to defend him. And I say this is part of playing professional sports in New York. And especially when you are if you were a 6th round pick, no one's talking about it. You were one of our 2 first-round picks, and both y'all are just you're falling way short of expectations so far. I mean, just look at friggin' Micah Parsons, dude. If Kayvon can be like half the player or 3/4 of the player Micah Parsons is, then that will shut people up. but he's not even coming close to having the level of impact that Micah Parsons has. We're -4 in the takeaway differential. That's 28th in the league. I don't know. Do we have a takeaway yet? I forget. I know the Pinnock interception against Arizona was called back because of Okereke clotheslined Zach Ertz. I don't think we have any takeaways. So another throw to Saquon that goes through his hands and becomes almost a pick six situation. It was literally like watching the same shit from the first half of the last week of the Cowboys game. We're 24th in passing yards per game offensively, 13th in rushing yards per game. The Niners are 3rd in the league in rushing yards per game, and we couldn't stop James Conner behind some would say not a great offensive line in Arizona. So I can only imagine what kind of rushing numbers they're going to put up against us. We're going to sit some more. It's going to be historic. I know it. One way or another, this game is going to be historic. That's just how this season's going to go. We're 9th in defensive passing yards a game. Again, it's a testament to that secondary. Our corners, our safeties, our nickels, they're just playing above and beyond, and we just can't get anything out of our defensive front. We're 26th in rushing yards allowed per game, and they're 3rd in rushing yards per game. So, that's going to be the key. That's pretty much the key on defense. How in the hell are you going to stack up against the run and not sacrifice too much and pass? And maybe this is the week that Wink goes to his rookie corners and Adoree Jackson and is like, we're going to stack the box and you guys are going to be on islands. So apply plenty of sunscreen. Don't forget your trunks and your floaties. That's what you kind of have to do. Just put it on the shoulders of your young corners and your most expensive corner. You got Pinnock and McKinney. One of those guys is going to be in the box. Almost has to be in the box at all times. I don't know if Isaiah Simmons gets more playing time. I know that there's been some talk with Micah McFadden kind of banged up that Isaiah Simmons snap count goes up. We'll see. I know that he's not like tremendous against the run, so I always saw him as like pass rusher, cover guy. But maybe that's it. Yeah, so you got 8 in the box. You got to figure you got your 4 guys on the line. You get Okereke, Simmons, I guess McKinney, and one other. That's 8, and then you got 3 guys. So it's You put Jackson deep instead of Pinnock. I don't know. And this is why I don't get paid the big bucks. Just trying to figure this shit out. Because barring injury, it's tough to see us coming out of this with a win. But say you cover and you lose by a touchdown or even a field goal. I think people are talking about you. I think that will do wonders for the fan base. And it will also put other teams on notice that, hey, we took 2 of the better teams in the conference who could be 1-2, could be 1-3, 2-3 in terms of seeds in the NFC. We took our worst beating at the hands of the Cowboys, and then we went toe to toe with the Niners. It just shows a great progression, a great evolution. You can take that confidence into another primetime game against the Seahawks and stick it to them. If you come out and get steamrolled, it's like, it's just hard to think that they're really going to get on track, even when guys get healthy and fully healthy. I don't know. But over under 45. You know what? I could maybe the defense does come out and is stingy against the run and makes Brock Purdy uncomfortable for a half. I don't see our offense getting on track right away. I mean, I guess, yeah, they're third in rushing yards allowed per game. So, but they're 23rd in passing yards allowed per game. So that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to throw the ball. So it's a matter of, can our offensive line even hold a candle and protect Jones against one of the best defensive lines, an actual best defensive line in the league. We'll see. That's the Giants. We'll finish up the pod. We're talking New York Mets baseball. So let's go Mets. You know, I know we haven't talked about the Mets in a hot minute, aka 3 weeks. I've had people in my mentions, in my comments, saying that the season was over 3 months ago. But I think the elimination number went down to 4 tonight, unfortunately. But the fact that we're halfway through September, almost 3/4 of the way through September, and we're still in the hunt. And yes, that's a byproduct of there being 7 playoff spots in each league. But it's just good to know that they still have a very outside small chance. You know, and it's all Marlins and Phillies. So we've split so far against the Marlins. If they honestly just go on a fucking streak, again, knowing what we know about our bullpen, it's just not highly unlikely. But if we win out against the Marlins and Phillies, like, are we talking about a playoff spot? Yeah, maybe. August didn't help things. Didn't help our cause. We're 11-18 in August. Second worst month since June, when we went 7-19. When we basically lost the season. And so far in September, we're now 9-8. So we're playing better than 500 ball in September. And I think a lot of that has been due to Ronny Mauricio, called up, one of the September call-ups, and has been hitting the ball, playing decent defense, but just seems like a nice infusion of energy into the lineup, into the field. His 117.3 mile per hour double is the hardest first career hit since StatCast began tracking in 2015. I've never seen a ball hit that hard in my life. On TV, it looked like it was a rocket. So I can only imagine what it looked like trying to field it. He's also the only Mets player with at least 15 hits and 5 stolen bases in their first 13 career games. So pretty nice. I mean, now, you know, there's talk about how like they're playing him a lot at third because then they can show the Padres that he's can be a good third baseman, so that the Mets can trade for Manny Machado, because Manny Machado wants to reunite with Buck Showalter, who's thinking about stepping down after this season. It's like, oh shit, okay. Interesting. And I guess it makes sense, because with all these baby Mets up, running around, leaving their toys everywhere, Buck, and we know Buck's like not fond of young players and rookies, and he's like, I don't know if I want to be here for all these whippersnappers biting my ankles. So I guess it's not that surprising that he would step down after the season. He's like, I just can't handle like these youngins. But then so you're gonna dangle Machado and bring Machado in? I personally don't want Machado. I don't know. I think it's great that when he played, his best seasons came under Buck, but I don't think I think he's more of a Dave Parkman, Major League 2, than he is our savior at the hot corner. DJ Stewart's another big reason why September is going better than we had hoped. He had a slash of .333, batting average .387 on base percentage, and .860 OPS. 9 home runs over his last 63 plate appearances, and has accumulated almost a full win above replacement in just over 2 weeks. Yeah, in 41 games with the Mets this season, 6 doubles, 11 ding-dongs, 24 RBIs. So, yeah, I got to see what his contract situation is, because it seems like a no-brainer to bring him back and if not platoon him, then it's like you're a guaranteed fourth outfielder. He goes into year 1 of arbitration in 2024. But I think he's worth investing in for sure, in my opinion. Well, my only concern is he playing this well because he is starting every day, right? That happens with a lot of players. It's like they don't, when you expect them to come in and pinch hit or, come in for defense in the 8th or 9th, 2 weeks in a row, and then finally he gets to start or whatever. I don't know. How does he respond to that? Like, would you be confident rolling into 2024 with him as your starting right fielder? I don't know. He's certainly making his case for it, and I don't think a lot of people would be that upset if he is our day one starting right fielder. You just know that you need to get, like, you can't rely on Marte, I don't think. Hard to see what Marte's status is going to be when he is fully healthy and comes back. Like, what is his, I guess, I don't know. I think he's not going to play at the level that he played in 2022. So got to come up with some backup plans. DJ has the highest weighted runs created plus, WRC plus, since August 1st. And he's in some pretty interesting company. Mookie Betts, Julio Rodriguez, Marcell Ozuna, boo, Bryce Harper, boo, and then DJ Stewart. Jeff McNeil became the 18th different Mets hitter to record 200-plus multi-hit games in franchise history. So the offense feels like it has awakened for the most part and is giving us more of an effort. There are definitely still nights where they just take off and they get completely shut down. But it is, it's so fun to watch them when they're all heating up at the same time. We just feel unbeatable, and then our bullpen blows it. But glad to see that McNeil is back in the swing of things. Had a huge home run against the Marlins in the first game of this current set. And he just seems to find getting late inning clutch hits. Like even tonight in the loss, the walk-off loss, it's like just sticks his bat out there, boop, pokes it over the infield, little blue pit. Seems to be like his signature. He almost had another home run tonight. And then Lindor. I know, yeah, he's got a lot of haters, but at the same time, he's just a solid dude. Here's a list of players who recorded the following under the age of 30. So 250 plus doubles, 25 plus triples, 200 plus home runs, 150 plus stolen bases. You got Frank Robinson, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., Carlos Beltran, Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, and Francisco Lindor. So, he's a generational player. I'm glad we got him locked up, and it's really only going to be stupid fans that drive him out, right? Because it feels like, he has a good relationship with Buck. He has a good relationship with Steve Cohen. He's seen how the fans can react when we win. He's seen how we react when we lose. So I really hope he does finish out his career with the Mets. So that was pretty heady company. There's 10 players that recorded pretty much those similar numbers: 250 doubles, 200 plus home runs, and 150 plus stolen bases in their first 9 big league seasons. Barry Bonds, Jeff Bagwell, David Wright, Mike Trout, Francisco Lindor. He's just very quiet, under the radar. Like, obviously not getting the kind of national spotlight now that we've been pretty much everyone's counted us out of the playoff race. Didn't make the All-Star game somehow again, which is preposterous. But yet he ranks here are his rankings among National League shortstops this year. He's first in FWAR, First in home runs, first in RBIs, first in hard hit percentage, first in exit velo, tied for second in stolen bases, second in OPS, second in runs created, third in doubles. He became just the fifth hitter in Mets history to record at least 25 doubles and 25 home runs and 25 stolen bases in the same season. Straw, Darryl Strawberry, Hojo, Howard Johnson, D Dubs, David Wright, Carlos Beltran. So, and there are 3 shortstops in Major League Baseball history who have had multiple seasons of 25 doubles, 25 home runs, and 25 stolen bases. Lindor, Hanley Ramirez, and Jimmy Rollins. So I know we put a lot of blame on his shoulders during that in what was it, March, April, May and June. We said, look at his batting average, is so low, blah, blah. But I don't know. I don't think Lindor's the problem. I don't think Alonso's the problem. I mean, his power production per year, everyone's saying he had an off year. He went through the worst slump of his career this year at the worst possible time. No one's arguing that. But he's also bounced back pretty well. He came back too early from the wrist thing when he got hit by the pitch. He came back way too early, and he struggled for the next month when he should probably just try to get right physically and mentally and not rush back. But he felt the need to rush back because we put ourselves in such a fucking hole, losing so many games early on. But steady power production every year. No other Met has hit 40 or more home runs more than once. These are the players with at least 3 seasons of at least 40 homers within their first 5 seasons. Ralph Kiner, Eddie Matthews, Albert Pujols, and Ryan Howard, along with Alonso. Those are some pretty decent names, dude. Kodai Senga's ranks among National League starting pitchers. Yeah, so, I mean, with Pete, also clutch home runs. I mean, there was a huge 3-run homer against the Reds that tied it up. And, it just seems like when we need a big home run, he's not more times than not, but he more frequently than most, I would say. So I don't want us to trade him. He's just a good dude. And, how goofy could he really be? It's like, just embrace the goof. It's not that hard. Embrace it. But the point is, like, the offense can be headache inducing, but it seems like Mauricio is a legitimate option. McNeil's kind of inconsistent year in and year out, but he's going to be there in the lineup. Alonso, Lindor, Nimmo, Alvarez, if he can get some more consistency. It feels like you have DJ Stewart, possibly. You have most of your field set for success. You mix in a little Vientos, you mix in a little Brett Beatty. Vogelback is like whatever. I don't think anyone thinks he's part of the future. But we're not that far off in terms of position players in our lineup. I don't think we're that far off. 1 or 2 players, maybe 3. Doesn't feel that far off. Now, the bullpen and the starting pitching is a whole nother story. I mean, we are getting all things considered, we're getting much better starts out of Tyler McGill and David Peterson than we did in the first half. Or even like in the first, like, it's just this past month or so where they've kind of stepped it up and given us much better performances and outings. Joey Lucchesi is holding his own. Joey Butto, he's pitching like out of his mind. Was it Quintana stepping up and giving us some much needed, quality starts? So they've gone above and beyond. They've far exceeded, the starting rotation has far exceeded what we expected. I think that's safe to say. Our bullpen is just atrocious. Just so bad. I mean, at no point, it's anytime. It's almost like no matter who we put out on that mound, it's just, they're going to give up runs and possibly blow the lead. But there's some bright spots with the starting rotation. And maybe it's a case of like, okay, we'll bolster the starting rotation and we can now use a lot of those guys, hopefully use those guys in the bullpen. I don't know. Not everyone that's a good starter is a good bullpen. Not everyone is a good Some can't transition like me. That's right. You hear me. I'm transitioning. Kodai Senga. I disagree with him winning Rookie of the Year or whatever. It's like Sam Hartman at Notre Dame is 24 as a college quarterback. Like, dude, if you could tell me at 24 I'd be a starting quarterback, I could play D1 and win the Heisman. It's just like, I don't agree with like Brandon Weeden like winning the Heisman or being in consideration for the Heisman, or oh my God, the other dude who played for Florida State, Chris Wenke, who was like 28 when he won the Heisman. Get the hell out of here, dude. There's got to be an age limit on winning the Heisman, just like there has to be an age limit with Rookie of the Year. There just has to be. Now, how does Kodai Senga rank among NL pitchers now that I've rained on his parade? Didn't mean to do that. He's third in ERA, third in home runs per 9 innings, or home runs allowed per 9 innings, fourth in strikeout percentage, tied for fourth in average, tied for fourth in WPA, which I forget what the hell that means. Fifth in WAR, and tied for sixth in WAR. So he's definitely in the conversation for Cy Young, right? Possibly. So he's our number one right now, and I think I'm fine with him being our number one moving into next year, which is comforting. It's like, all right, we don't have to go for a number one next year in the offseason. Let's just try and get like, not even a 2. Let's just get like 3 solid 3s and have them, they're interchangeable in terms of third, fourth, and fifth. Because Quintana, it's tough because Quintana is going to be another year older. You got to think that the injury is going to bite him again. So I would not put a whole lot of faith and investment in Quintana. He's more like just an added bonus. But I don't see him starting 30 games next season. Maybe 15. He's going to be like hopefully the added bonus. But yeah, so a lot of work to be done with the starting rotation, the bullpen. I don't know that there are a lot of guys in the bullpen that I would bring back. I just don't know. So yeah, that's the Mets. They are close to being eliminated, but stranger things have happened. The fact that they're playing like they are against a lot of these better teams. You look at like since August 30th, who they've played and who they've won against. Took 2 or 3 from the Mariners, who are either second or third place, depending on what hour of the day it is. They did split with the Nationals, which sucked. We're 7-6 against Washington this season, which is pretty much unacceptable. The Nats are in dead last. I don't know that a lot of people expected them to compete this year. So just to have such a mediocre record against them is kind of, one of the reasons we are where we are. We lost 2 or 3 to the first place Twins, which is a bummer. We just have not done well against any of the Central teams this year, AL or NL. Something about that Midwest flavor that gives us stomach pangs. We took 3 or 4 from the second place Diamondbacks, and we're 6-1 against Arizona this season. So we definitely have their number. And then we lost 2 or 3 of the second, depending on the day, it could be second or third place, Cincinnati Reds. 2-4 against the Reds this year. So, it's not taking advantage of the Nationals. Not taking advantage of poor, bad teams. Like I mentioned before, 0-3 against the Tigers. The last place, they were the last place Tigers at the time. I think they actually have moved up to the third in AL Central despite a losing record. 2-4 against the last place Rockies. 0-3 against the last place Royals. It's 10 losses. Now, maybe you don't win all those games, but goddamn, if you took 7 or 8 of those 10, we would be in the playoffs. And this is back, the Royals, you can say what you will. The Royals caught us at like the worst possible time because it was like immediately following all the moves at the trade deadline. So I guess the team was in shock that we were selling. And so, it was a timing thing with the Royals. But like the fact that we could not take the series from the Rockies was bogus. And then getting swept by the Tigers. And that's back when we had all our dudes, all our guys. So that's where the season went off the rails. We talked about Jose Butto. Over his last 3 starts, 17 in the third innings, 12 hits, 4 earned, 5 walks, 19 strikeouts, and an ERA of 2. So, I'm not as worried. I don't think I'm as worried about the starting rotation as the bullpen is definitely more concerning, more alarming for sure. I don't even know how to address the bullpen at this point. I mean, I don't know how you go about doing that, but it certainly looks good from a field position standpoint, a position player standpoint. Offensively, I think Mauricio, this is not like a flash in the pan type thing. I think, we're seeing what we saw with Brandon Nimmo when he was a September call-up, what we saw with Jeff McNeil when he's a September call-up. So I think my expectation is that Ronny Mauricio is going to be in the opening day roster next year, and he's probably going to start, whether it's second base or third base. I don't know. I know there's been some some doozies with him at the hot corner, but I think we'll iron that out. Right? Probably. So I'm not as despondent, for the people saying that we're not going to compete next year. That's just, that's absurd. Did anyone think the Orioles would compete this year? And now they're the first, they just clinched a playoff spot, and they had a lot of people pulling for them. So it's not far off. We're not that far off. A lot of these games that we're losing, it seems like lately are just, the friggin' bullpen, dude. They cannot hold the lead. It just seems like they consistently get themselves in jams, and always snowballs. Like wild pitch, hit batsman, just little things that like clean it up, dude. Clean it up. So I know it would be a miracle if they made the playoffs this year. I don't think it's obviously not going to happen, but man, would it be cool? Because like if all of a sudden everyone starts to hit their stride all at the same time, and just like that's what we've been that's what we talked about last year. The Phillies got friggin' red hot towards the end of the season and carried that into the playoffs and just took off. But I forget what the playoff odds are, but I would imagine we're at like 0.1%. Come on, baby. Yeah. Playoff odds. So as of, this is before tonight's game, we have a 0.1% chance of making the postseason. Yeah, it looks like, they have their prediction for us over the remaining 12 games is 5-7, 6-6, 5-7, 6-6. So the best they think that this is baseball reference. The best that they think that we can do with 90% confidence is 78-84. Woof. It's crazy to think that we like very easily could have been a 90-win team, and people would have been disappointed, but we'd be in the playoffs. That's all we wanted. Playoffs, baby. Yeah, it sucks. William, we were at the end of May, we had a 51.3% chance of making the playoffs. In June, our playoff percentage went from 56% on June 1st to 1.4% on June 30th. It's one of the worst. That's one of the worst months of baseball that I think anyone has ever seen. Oh my God, dude. Our odds actually went up in July, and then it went way down in August. So All right. Well, that's the episode. Let's go Giants. Let's go Mets. I mean, who knows? By the time October rolls around, October 1, we could be elated from here to eternity with the most shocking turnaround that two franchises have ever had in the span of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Or it could just be like, well, what else can we talk about? So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And hopefully we'll have some more like life stuff. Got a whole bunch of life stuff to talk about. Just haven't been able to get around to it. Some movie stuff, some TV stuff, all kinds of stuff. It's all in. It's locked and it's loaded, but it just can't fire just yet. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll talk to you next time. Adios, muchachos.